Okay, look who's back, man. She's one of my favorite artists absolutely ever. I think in the music world at the moment, my three top artists of all times is Tyler Joseph, NF, and Ren at the moment. They are artists on a different league. And for those of you who haven't heard of NF, oh my God, just go down his discography. But now he's got something absolutely new. He's obviously setting up an album. This is called Hope, right? So many people have said, listen, this literally just dropped like a couple of hours ago, and so many people have said, Phil, you need to get on this, man. And the guys that know that I'm an NF absolute diehard, they said, bro, you need to do this. So I'm like, okay, let's get straight into this. Okay, NF Hope, let's see what we got. Let's go.
Hope, yeah, I'm on my way, I'm coming. Don't lose faith in me. I know you've been waiting. I know you've been praying for my soul.
This dude's production value.
30 years you've been dragging your feet, telling me I'm the reason we're stagnant. 30 years you've been claiming you're honest and promising progress. Well, where is it at? I don't want you to feel like a failure. I know this hurts, but I gave you your chance to deliver. Now it's my turn. Don't get me wrong, nature had a great run, but it's time to give the people something different. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my album. Hope. What's my definition of success? Listening to what your heart says, standing up for what you know is right while everybody else is tucking their toe between their legs. What's my definition of success? Creating something no one else can. Being brave enough to dream big. Grinding when you're told to just quit. Giving more when you got nothing left. It's a person that'll take a chance on something they were told could never happen. It's a person that can see the bright side through the dark times when there ain't one. It's when someone who ain't never had nothing ain't afraid to walk away from more profit, cause they rather do something that they really love and take the pay cut. It's a person that would never waver or change who they are just to try and gain some credibility so they can feel accepted by a stranger. It's a person that can take the failures in their life and turn them into motivation. It's believing in yourself when no one else does. It's amazing what a little bit of faith can do. If you don't even believe in you, why would you think or expect anybody else that's around you to? I done did things that I regret. I done said things I can't take back. Was a lost soul at a crossroad who had no hope, but I changed that. I spent years of my life holding on to things I never should have kept, full of hatred. Years of my life carrying a lot of baggage that I should have walked away from. Years of my life wishing I was someone different, looking for some validation. Years of my life trying to fill a void, pretending I was in. They get it.
Pushed him back into the mansion. This fucking dude, I can't do this. It's gonna open the room.
Pain's a necessary evil, difficult to go through, yes, but beneficial. Some would say having a mental breakdown is a negative thing, which on one hand I agree, but on the other hand it was the push I needed to get help and start the healing process. See, if I didn't ever hit my bottom, would I be the person that I am today? I don't believe so. I'm a prime example of what happens when you choose to.
This fucking guy is just so fucking insane. Seriously, I actually can't. I can't for NF. Seriously, this dude is so fucking crazy good. What is he fucking doing, dude? You just... God, okay. off the bat, man, let's just get into this. Let me try and see if I can remember it all. Straight off the bat, right in the beginning, he's on that raft, right? I love the fact that he's using a raft, because a raft is kind of like it's a man-made thing. He's looking for the shore. He was stranded. He had to sort of shimmy something up by himself, because no one's going to build him a ship. He had to sort of make it himself and just take the journey, right? In one of his songs, he says, I can't remember which song it was. I'm searching for the map to hope. Now he's got the map on the raft. Now the one thing you need to pay attention to as well, that I saw in the beginning, is that the waters were calm, right? He was actually coming to the shores, like it's almost like he's finding a destination. Obviously dressed all in white, because now the other side. It's not the dark Nate, it's the light Nate, right? So it's that battle between the minds again. Absolutely brilliant. He often does that. But the waters are calm, and as he comes to the waters, he's like, okay, well, geez, I'm close, man. I'm really close. Like his mind is calm. But then he takes a look to his side, and guess who's there? It's the Dark Knight with all the burdens, with all the pain, with all the baggage, all the hatred, with all that stuff, is sitting there on the perch saying, where are you going, bud? You can search for all of this all you like. You can change your attire. You can try and look for this hope and this faith, but I'll always be here. Right? And it will always be with Nate, right? It's that darkness needs to be controlled, right? It's not something that will ever go away. You can never let go of your baggage. You can never let go of your past. What you need to do is you need to hone it, and you need to say, okay, I'm going to use my past I always say this, I'm going to use my past as a hitching post, and not, as a guard post and not a hitching post. Because if I hitch there, then I'm going to stay in that darkness. And it gets very comfortable staying in that darkness, right? Because then you turn into all the vices, and you turn into the anger, and that anger makes you feel good. It makes you feel like the whole world is at fault, as opposed to you. You're not taking accountability for your own life. And the way he plays that is absolutely brilliant. But what I like about it is that he's calm the entire time, and then he's obviously getting mocked by the Dark Knight and whatever else. And the Dark Knight's kind of like gets a little bit uncomfortable, where as he's going through this, he sees he's getting no reaction from the Light Knight, and he pushes him back. He pushes him back into the mansion. He says, wait a second, let's take you back to the home that you remember. Let's take you back to the rooms that you never wanted to open, right? You can't run away from this. You know what I mean? So it's dark, and it's got like a devilish sense to it, which I'll get into it once we watch a little bit more. Then he pushes him into that mansion, and he goes and he opens, and he seems almost unfazed. It almost seems like, yeah, all right, okay. So he opens the doors. He finally opens those doors, and he seems unfazed, which is absolutely insane. This guy is fucking mind-blowingly brilliant. Okay, so let's carry on.
If I bottom, would I be the person that I am today? I don't believe so. I'm a prime example of what happens when you choose to not accept defeat and face your demons. Took me 30 years to realize that if you want to get the opportunity to be the greatest version of yourself, sometimes you gotta be someone you're not to hear the voice of reason. Having kids will make you really take a step back and look in the mirror. At least for me, that's what it did.
Having kids will make you take a step back. Oh my God.
Wake up every day and pick my son up, hold him in my arms and let him know he's loved. Standing by the window questioning if that is ever going to show up. Isn't something he's gonna have to worry about, don't get it twisted, that was in the shop. Mama, I forgive you, I just don't want him to grow up thinking that he'll never be enough. 30 years of running, 30 years of searching, 30 years of hurting, 30 years of pain, 30 years of fearful, 30 years of anger, 30 years of empty, 30 years of shame, 30 years of broken, 30 years of anguish, 30 years of hopeless, 30 years of hey, 30 years of never, 30 years of maybe, 30 years of later, 30 years of fate, 30 years of hollow, 30 years of sorrow, 30 years of darkness, 30 years of day, 30 years of baggage, 30 years of sadness, 30 years of stagnant, 30 years of change, 30 years of patience, 30 years of suffering, 30 years of torment, 30 years of 30 years of bitter, 30 years of lonely, 30 years of pushing everyone away. You'll never evolve, I know I can change. We are not enough, we are not the same. You don't have the heart, you don't have the strength, you don't have the will, you don't have the faith. You'll never be loved, you'll never be safe. Might as well give up, not running away.
Jesus Christ. Okay, just finish this fucking thing. Fuck me.
30 years of searching, 30 years of hurting, 30 years of pain, 30 years of fearful, 30 years of anger, 30 years of empty, 30 years of shame, 30 years of broken, 30 years of anguish, 30 years of hopeless, 30 years of hate, 30 years of never, 30 years of maybe, 30 years of later, 30 years of fate, 30 years of hollow, 30 years of sorrow, 30 years of darkness, 30 years of hate, 30 years of baggage, 30 years of sadness, 30 years of stagnant, 30 years of change, 30 years of patience, 30 years of suffering, 30 years of torment, 30 years of 30 years of bitter, 30 years of lonely, 30 years of pushing everyone away. You'll never evolve. I know I can change. We are not enough. We are not the same. You don't have the heart. You don't have the strength. You don't have the will. You don't have the faith. You'll never be loved. You'll never be safe. Might as well give up. Not running away. You don't have the guts. You're the one afraid. I'm the one in charge. I'm taking the reins.
Fuck me, Jesus.
Oh.
Wow, Jesus, that was fucking intense. Fucking hell. I don't actually think there was an NF song that's hit me that hard. Fuck, he always does this to me, I just can't say. Anyway, let me try to compose myself. Okay, so in the mansion, he pulls the bag over his head, which is actually the map, right? That he's no longer blinded by this. He's not blinded by his hate anymore. It's not something that's going to keep him in that mansion. But the moment he does that, he's immediately transported to a new height, right? He's up on the mountains, the ocean's behind him, right? The hard, the drowning, the rough storms, the choppy waves, the harsh life is behind him. It never went away, but it's behind him, essentially. And what actually happens is, as he starts, it's almost like he's getting it all out, like he's removing that log and he's confessing everything. So it's like 30 years of this, 30 years of that, and like I'm finally ready to actually get all of this out. He forgives his mother. He says, listen, like I'm not taking shots at you and whatever else. I just needed to go through this. And I'm so glad that through all of this learning, I'm able to get to a point where my son's never going to have to stand at a window and see, like, you know, ask for his mother, right? And while he's doing that, the Dark Knight, which we can call him, like, this is like the devilish Knight now. The Dark Knight is getting very uncomfortable with this. And he's trying to come out. He's like, whoa, Nate, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? We had a good thing going over here, right? There was resentment, there was anger, there was pain, there was vices, but I kept you comfortable in this darkness. And you do get comfortable in the darkness. You do get comfortable when you're down and you kind of feel like, oh no, the whole world is the problem and things like that. And you start retreating into this dark space, and it gets comfortable because you can turn into the vices, and you know, you can never, like, you don't have to take responsibility for yourself. You don't have to introspect, which is unbelievably painful to do. And you can stay there for a long time, but the moment you have that awakening, the moment you're like, wait a second, I need to get out of this, I need to dig myself out of this hole, right? You must take it. There's a saying that says, the devil comes for you when you're at your highest, right? And you know why they say that? Because why should the devil even bother with you when you're at your lowest? When you're at your lowest, you're where the devil wants you to be. He doesn't waste his time with you. You're already there. He doesn't want to, where you start making him feel very uncomfortable, and that's where he comes for you, is when you start rising. Because then it's like, wait a second, whoa, wait a second. You know what I mean? Now you're going against this entire contract over here. Now you're going against everything that I gave you. Now you're going against all these, like this, the insecurities and how I made you feel. I gave you vices for this. I gave you pleasures and decadences for this. We had a good thing going over here, and now all of a sudden you want to rise. You want to rise to the why? And I like the fact that he actually did that at the top of the mountain, where he's so far past the ocean, so far past the choppy waters, essentially. But as you see the Dark Knight fighting him, like trying to come out, again, the Light Knight seems almost unfazed, seems fully and utterly in control. But what's happening is, because the dark force is trying to come out again, take a look at the ocean behind him. The waters start getting choppier. It's like almost like the devil's trying to bring back all of this choppy waters, the waves, the things that kept him beneath the waves, that kept him drowning. He's trying to bring it back, but it's got no effect on me because he's so high up. Those waters no longer hurt him. And then he gets so uncomfortable. You can see that, like, the dark devilish side is getting so uncomfortable with it. But it's having no effect with him. Like, he can't get past He can't get past here. Like you can see, it's like morphing. Brilliant video production as well. Obviously, it's fucking NF. But he can't even get past here. It's like, fuck, I can't control this guy. And then he ends it off was like, I'm now taking the reins. Right? Completely switching the entire premise of his entire discography, of his entire work, right? Into a more hopeful, more light-based, more uplifting part of his life that was all brought about by his child. This is probably one of the greatest things I've ever fucking heard by NF. It was actually hit so fucking hard, right? And I apologize for swearing, but oh my god, this was insane, right? Absolutely and utterly brilliant. And what I love about what he's doing over here is playing into the whole the Dr. Viktor Frankl element of a man's search for meaning. A man's search for meaning this is what he was doing. This is what NF was doing. He was searching for his meaning. But a man's search for meaning, right? The main element of your search for meaning is hope. If you have no hope, you have no path. Nothing. It doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter what adversities there are. Dr. Viktor Frankl was in the Holocaust. They took everything away from him. True story, go read the book. And when they told him, now you have nothing, you have no doctorates, you have nothing to show that you are a professional or an intellectual, you have nothing. We've taken everything away from you. And he pointed to his head and he pointed to his heart. And he said, I never have nothing. And that's hope. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.